morning, I invite you to allow yourself the experience of awakening to the gifts of Easter, to open yourself and consider a new perspective on a story that we all think we know. You think you know the story? I did. So I invite you to allow yourself to be open and to look for the gift that is yours personally, and possibly yours as a spiritual community during this time. There is a gift waiting for you. I allowed myself the gift of being sure that my travel plans here allowed me the opportunity to be a participant in the Good Friday service, where in music and message, we explored the 7 last instructive teachings of Jesus. They were forgiveness, the ability to be present in the now moment, a sense of belonging, trust in both yourself and your higher power, asking for the assistance you need just by speaking your need to those around you, and trusting help would appear. Recognizing when things are complete. And to surrender to what is. We begin our exploration today from that place of surrender. So, of course, it was in divine order that all of these things led up to what I had already prepared for today. Don't you just love how Spirit has a plan? So we begin our exploration in a sense of surrender. A surrender in the story to the reality that Jesus, the physical presence of Jesus, the master teacher, our way shower, is no longer present in the room physically. We sense the presence in the room. We sense the presence in our lives. We sense the presence when we claim for Christ's nature. So we only have his teachings, his words with us. And when we have the awareness of the Christ within. So the story goes as inspired by Matthew chapter 28, verses 1 through 8. Entitled, Jesus Has Risen. After the Sabbath at dawn on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. There was a violent earthquake, and the angel of the Lord came down from heaven and, going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothes were white as snow. The guards were so afraid that they shook and became like dead men, frozen in their fear. The angel said to the woman, "Do not be afraid. I know you are looking for Jesus, the one who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said he would do. Come and see the place where he had lain, and then go quickly and tell his disciples. He has risen from the dead and is going ahead into Galilee. There you will see him. Now, I have told you." So the woman hurried away from the tomb, afraid and yet filled with joy. And they ran to tell the disciples. Friends, we are those disciples, hearing that good news and celebrating with joy today. Easter in Unity is about celebrating and honoring an incredible individual who came to us and said, "Not only will I tell you the truth, but I will demonstrate it in my life. Not only will I move along and among you as one who is in harmony with you and your experience, I will also be in sympathy and empathy to the challenges that you face. I also will go the distance with the physical expression that I call my life. I will show you the unreality of death. Jesus did that. Way to go! Easter for Unity is more about the resurrection experience than the crucifixion. Utilizing our metaphysical interpretations and the teachings of the Fillmores help us to apply the events and the stories that are in the Bible to our life today, right here, in current time. And so as we look at the crucifixion and the resurrection stories, we can look at the experience of Jesus in the tomb. And we can find in that story the applicable gifts that can deepen our spiritual awareness and our experience. We all know what a tomb experience is. For all of us, there is something inside of us that pushes us forth. It's that divine energy within that is calling us to leave something behind and to go and be something new, something more. We've all felt that. It shows up differently for each of us. And yet we are all in this tomb experience at some level, in some area of our lives. In the Revealing Word, Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, states that the tomb where Jesus was laid to rest represents an elevated, peaceful state of consciousness in which he rested the 3 days previous to his resurrection. The word of truth within Jesus did not die, but quietly spread from point to point during this 3-day period, while he was getting ready for the supreme test of overcoming the appearance of death. For us as individuals, the tomb represents a higher state of consciousness within us. It is our improvement in character, in mind, in idea, in expression. Not only do we grow into a broader understanding of our human and spiritual selves, but we also increase in vitality and substance of character during a tomb experience. Have you found that to be true in reflecting on your life? During that tomb experience, we are resting in God, and at the same time gathering our strength and the power that is needed for a greater demonstration to follow. In this state of consciousness, the word of truth within us did not die. It is idle, but quietly spreading or expanding within you as the process continues until the whole of our consciousness is vitalized and revitalized with the Holy Spirit. The W-H-O-L-E, Holy Spirit. You see how I love those little word games? And so we breathe in that presence of the Holy Spirit, starting with the W and ending with the E. That is the truth of your nature. So in any tomb experience, when we search, we find the gift. We find 3 gifts in this story, symbolized by Jesus' 3 days in the tomb. And I say symbolized purposely because a tomb experience in our lives could last a day, a week, a year, or more. You've had that experience, you know what I'm talking about. It's about our personal journey through that level of growth experience. It doesn't have a timetable to it. It takes as long as it takes to grow and expand and become more aware of our human and spiritual self and how they are intermeshed. And these 3 gifts in this particular story are non-resistance and humility, receiving the divine will of God, which is about recognizing your connection and following your guidance, and fulfilling the divine will, living from the truth of who you are and who you have come here to be. The first gift is the idea of non-resistance and humility. On the first day in the tomb, it is in the beginning stages of the transformation. It's best to just relax and give up resistance. Many of us go into the tomb because we have no choice. Our life is simply not working. It feels as if we are stuck between a hard place and a rock. Have you been there? We have done all that we can do as human individuals, and we reach a place where we finally admit we need help. We can't do it on our own. Oftentimes, for us to ask for help, we have to be physically exhausted. We have carried our cross on our back, whatever our burden is. We are bent over from the weight of the decisions and the choices and the unknowns in our lives. Sometimes we are exhausted from carrying the weight of another in our life. Their choices, their decisions. And so sometimes we carry the cross for someone else. And this is our crucifixion experience, carrying the weight of those decisions. So when we arrive at the tomb on the first day, we rest in the idea of non-resistance and humility. Resistance is any way that we push against something in our lives. If you are in a push-pull situation with another person in your life, or even with an idea of what you should be doing or something in your experience, if you're in that push-pull back and forth, then that is a tomb experience. And the best thing you can possibly do for yourself and for those around you is to just stop and allow yourself to rest and practice non-resistance. At these times in our lives, we are called to practice faith, to search deep within our souls and claim the faith that we know is there. This is the time to seek it out. Faith is needed. And although what it feels like the dark night of the soul is painful, it's an important and productive time. Yay. So if you are passing through one of these dark nights, take comfort in the truth that there's a bigger picture out there waiting for you to pass through this tomb experience. The universe's calling is waiting, has something much greater and better for you. You'd have to just take the journey. And so on the first day of your tomb experience, relax. Accept the gift of non-resistance and allow God to do God's work in you, as you, for you. Allow. From Mark chapter 2, verses 22, it says, "No one puts new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the wine will burst these skins, and the wine is lost, the skins as well. One puts new wine into fresh wineskins." A new idea, a new consciousness. And so we leave the first day and we move on to the second day, and the second gift in the receiving is the divine will of God. Recognizing and knowing your connection and listening for the guidance that will come. The second day is all about opening ourselves to the God solution. The thing about that God solution is, if you don't practice non-resistance and surrender into the experience on the first day, the God solution never comes. You can't go to step 2 without going through step 1. Have you tried to do that? It doesn't work. So we have to surrender into the place of non-resistance and humility on day 1, or the solution will not appear. This God solution is our new wine, the new idea, the new perception, the new outlook on the experience. On day 2, we receive a new download, an upgrade in our consciousness as we begin to work and change our thinking and how it applies to our lives. Come on in, Spirit. The second day symbolizes the assimilation of classes and meditations, of music and books, the lectures we've heard, that we've participated in over the years, that help us move along our spiritual path of understanding. This is the practical side of practical Christianity that Unity is known for. It's the assimilation. I've got all this information, now let's weave it in and put it to work. And through this learning process, we move in consciousness to higher and higher levels of thinking and expression, leaving behind more and more of our error thoughts, and gaining more and more of a connection with the Christ presence. A big part of the gift on the second day is to learn to recognize and rely on your guide's divine guidance. Not easy, but doable. Trial and error. In the tomb on the second day, however long that is for us, whether it's a day, a week, a year, or more, we use our intellectual minds to help us acquire that knowledge to integrate into our lives. We learn to use our feeling nature to guide us in making our decisions, to guide us in utilizing that knowledge that we've gained. In the tomb on the second day, we learn to trust in our highest good. We learn to give up the attachment of what things should look like. We all have a vision of what it's supposed to look like. And we need to just allow the divine to present something greater than we could ever experience or imagine alone. So instead of holding to the outcome of what we believe our prayers should be, our prayers need to transform during this time of the tomb experience into something more like this. I surrender to divine will for my life and affirm my ability to change my thinking at depth so that I may be healed and whole. We're going to break that into pieces and affirm it together. I surrender to the divine will for my life. Together.
I surrender to the divine will for my life.
Yes. And affirm the ability to change my thinking at depth. And
Affirm my ability to change my thinking at depth.
So that I may be healed and whole.
So that I may be healed and whole.
Yes!
Yes.
Did you feel it?
Yes.
I get so excited. So there you are, day 2. You're in the surrendering process. Now on day 3, we allow the fulfillment of God's divine will to take place. We arise out of the tomb. We look a little different. There's a glow about us. We act different. The grip of fear is no longer present in our being and our expression. We have a joyfulness about us. We vibrate at a different frequency. And we attract into our life and experience different people and different circumstances into ours. Only those who truly love Jesus came to the tomb that Easter morning. Those who had wished him harm had gone away. They were not present. The events and the circumstances of our lives that have led us into our individual tomb experience have been surrendered. We have asked to be changed. We emerged ourselves and totally were made anew in mind, in body, in spirit. There is always that possibility that we should choose to remain in darkness. When we seek external solutions for our internal needs, our internal growth experience. We could still choose to believe that our problems exist because of things in the outer world. And we could rearrange that outer world like pieces on a game board. But until we do our inner work and surrender and search out divine will and follow it, we will still feel empty.